Counsel of the jury and Judge Freeberg. Today you will hear from my clients, Hansel and Gretel Schmidt, on trial for aggravated battery, criminal mischief, and petty theft. It's been proposed that on the night of October 30th at around 2:30 p.m., the reason for this trial and the reason we are here has received cause. On that particular day, two young poor children by the names of Hansel and Gretel Schmidt were abandoned by their parents and left to wander in the little town of Hexville in Salem County, Massachusetts. Soon did they find Malvinia Crueller's bakery. Mrs. Crueller willingly allowed the children into her shop to look around freely. They did nothing wrong to be tormented, chased, and assaulted by Malvinia Crueller. A witness account from Jackie Horner, owner of a pie shop just across the street, claims they were new in the town and needed a job, so he suggested trying one for the Crueller's bakery. My clients, after swearing to tell the whole truth, say that on that very night they walked into the bakery as Mrs. Crueller welcomed them in. They were just innocently walking around, admiring all the finished gingerbread houses on display. Hansel Schmidt said that, quote, "I guess we touched one of them when we shouldn't have," unquote. It was just an accident, but Mrs. Crueller thought differently. Quote, "She hollered at us and started walking towards us," says the defendant. During this progression, Gretel accidentally backed into a gingerbread house on display, knocking it off its shelf. The defendants are sure this accident is what caused Mrs. Crueller to put on her oven mitts, open the large brick oven in the back of the shop, pull out a red-hot pan, and try to force the children into the oven. Hansel Schmidt instinctively responded to this vicious attack from Malvinia and stood up to protect himself and his sister. During this resistance, Mrs. Crueller apparently slipped and fell backwards by accident partway into the oven. The two children, panicked and with nowhere to go, ran out of the shop to find help for themselves and for Mrs. Crueller. Later, Hexville citizen Samuel Snively heard the struggle and called 911. He then ran into the store to find Mrs. Crueller laying partway in the oven with her arms on a hot pan. Later, police officer Bertie Johnson found the two kids on the street a quarter mile away. They came into custody without resistance. These two children are innocent and would not do anything to harm or steal from an old lady like Mrs. Crueller. The series of events that had occurred that night were entirely accidental and fed by the misunderstanding of the plaintiff, Malvinia Crueller, and the defendants, Hansel and Gretel Schmidt. These poor, young, helpless children are not criminals and not guilty of any such crime. We shall hope for the best of them and for the jury. Thank you.